On the first half, you'll want to bring your strongest pyro damage dealers to take advantage of the free melts you get against the cryo cube. Throughout the fight, you get short windows where you get to attack the boss's core, and these usually only last 5 to 7 seconds. Because of this, a common theme you'll see throughout this video is setting up buffs early, before the core is actually exposed. This allows us to maximize the field time our main damage dealers get when the core does get exposed. This also means that characters who can deal high bursts of damage in short windows are great for this fight, such as Yanfei or Hu Tao. For this video, I'll be using my national team, with Xiangling as my main damage dealer. When the boss moves away from you and splits up like this, it's about to use its geyser attack. It'll form a ring of ice around itself and then periodically spray ice from the ground wherever you're standing. However, if you're inside the ring of ice, the attack won't follow you around, so as soon as you see this move come out, run towards the boss and try to get close. The core will be exposed during this attack, so start your combo immediately once you get inside the ring of ice. When the boss turns into a wheel like this, it'll charge at you anywhere between 1 and 3 times. Time your dashes to avoid damage just before it hits you, and try to hug the walls of the arena so that it doesn't land too far away from you. Notice how much time I had to spend just to catch up to it, which doesn't leave me much time to attack. After this move, I recommend not committing any major cooldowns and just use a few skills to deal some damage. When the boss moves its cubes above itself and floats up into the air, it's about to use its ice rings attack. It'll shoot 3 rings of ice down, starting from directly under it and then working its way out. For this move, I stand underneath it so that I'm in the safe zone for the second and third shots, and time my burst to avoid damage from the first shot. This also allows me to set up my buffs early, so that by the time the attack ends and the core is exposed, Xiangling is immediately ready to go. Before I move on, I want to go over 2 moves that we didn't get to see in this run, starting with this missile attack. You'll know that it's coming when the boss flies away from you and forms a big circle in the air like this. The missiles have a hard time hitting you when you're directly underneath the boss, so I rush towards it to try to make it into that safe zone. Similar to the ice rings attack, I start setting up my buffs early so that by the time the boss comes back down, Xiangling is ready to start attacking immediately. The last move is the clap, which you may already be familiar with. This is another one where I don't recommend committing too many major cooldowns because the vulnerability window is a little shorter on this one. When you bring the boss down to about 6 or 7% HP, it'll form a cryo shield around itself. Then it'll launch 3 snow fruits around the arena, which you have to use to break its shield. The farther away from the boss you are, the farther the snow fruits will be launched, so stay close to the boss so you don't have to chase them too far. While you're waiting, chip away at the cryo shield with your pyro attacks. Use charged attacks or bow aim shots to knock the snow fruits back into the boss. In the first wave of the second half, we'll be fighting 2 Ruin Cruisers and 1 Ruin Scout. The Ruin Cruisers have a move where they blast away from you when you're in melee range of them. Taking advantage of this behavior, I approach one of the Ruin Cruisers from the side to make it move towards the other one. You'll be fighting 2 waves of 3 enemies each on this half, so I recommend using a team that has strong AoE damage. I'm using an overloaded Yanfei team for its high AoE DPS. All the enemies on this half are heavy, so I don't have to worry about enemies getting scattered by overload. After the first Ruin Cruiser joins the other one, I change my angle of attack to push them towards the front of the arena. I want to take the fight there because that's where the Ruin Greater in the next wave will spawn, and I want to be able to start attacking it as soon as it appears. In the second wave, you'll be fighting 2 Ruin Destroyers and 1 Ruin Greater. The Ruin Destroyers have a move where they teleport to you, but unfortunately they open with it only about 50% of the time. I still recommend focusing on the Ruin Greater the entire time and just waiting for the other 2 to join the fight, at which point you can attack all 3 at once. Sometimes it might take a while for both of them to teleport to you, and you may have to spend some extra time at the end to chase one down. The builds are in the video description. Thank you so much for watching.